So we have seen there have been n number of paradoxes which have emerged today because of COVID times, and which have made decision making truly a core competency to have, as I see. How would you think leaders at all levels, and not just only at the top, should focus on to hone this skill about understanding the paradoxes and deciding what to do?
Interesting question, because if you, Ruchira, look at um, the word judgment, how do you make a judgment before you make a decision? The word judgment, unfortunately, in Indian languages has a very approximate translation. The nearest that you can get to the word judgment in Hindi is nirnay, and nirnay actually means decision. So I have a feeling, this is of course based on my intuitive thought, that a lot more time on reflecting, a lot more time in understanding one's own biases, a lot more time in trying to look at what is the impact of a particular situation in the short term and the long term is important in managing these paradoxes. Because what can happen in a paradox is it can be totally confusing. Take today's times. If you're, let's say, planning for an organization in terms of strategy, I guess that in these uncertain times, it's very important to have three scenarios: scenario one, scenario two, and scenario three. Very often, Ruchira, as the scenarios become more and more remote from the first scenario, meaning the second and the third, they're not as robust as the first scenario. I think today's context, it's a little bit like the second service of an ace tennis player. The second service is nearly as good as the first service, as fast, and so on. So the scenario planning has to be done extremely well in managing these paradoxes, whether it's the company or the individual or whatever situation.